Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889 in Braunau am Inn, Austria-Hungary, the fourth child of Alois and Clara Hitler. His childhood was marked by a tense relationship with his strict father and a close bond with his mother, who was a loving figure in his life. Adolf's academic performance was poor, especially in subjects like mathematics, and he showed little interest in traditional schooling. His primary passion was art, but after being rejected twice from the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, he faced a profound sense of failure. It was during his time in Vienna, struggling with poverty and isolation, that Hitler developed many of his core ideologies, particularly his anti-Semitic and nationalistic views. He spent time reading radical literature that influenced his belief in the superiority of the Aryan race and the need for a powerful, unified German state. The defeat of Germany in World War I and his experiences as a soldier profoundly shaped his worldview. He felt a deep sense of betrayal by the German government and the Treaty of Versailles, which he blamed for Germany's defeat and humiliation. This feeling of injustice and a desire for revenge, along with his growing radicalism, led Hitler to believe that only through a strong, authoritarian government could Germany regain its rightful place in the world. Following Germany's defeat in World War I, the country was in chaos. The Weimar Republic, which had been established in the aftermath of the war, faced economic crisis, political instability, and rising extremism. The Treaty of Versailles, which placed the blame for the war on Germany, led to widespread resentment. During this time, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party in 1919, a small nationalist and anti-Semitic group that would later become the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. Hitler quickly rose through the ranks thanks to his powerful oratory and passionate speeches, which focused on nationalism, anti-Semitism, and the rejection of the Versailles Treaty. In 1920, the party changed its name to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, and Hitler became its central figure. He used the party's platform to promote a vision of a unified, racially pure German state, where Jews, communists, and other minorities would be excluded. By promoting extreme nationalism and a vision of German superiority, Hitler gained a growing following. He sought to rally Germans against perceived enemies both within the country and abroad, and the Nazi Party's influence began to spread across Germany, eventually making it a powerful political force. In 1923, taking advantage of the political and economic chaos in Germany, Hitler attempted to overthrow the Weimar government in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch. With the support of the Nazi Party and other right-wing groups, Hitler sought to seize control of Munich and march on Berlin, hoping to replicate Mussolini's march on Rome in Italy. However, the coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and sentenced to prison for treason. Despite the failure of the Beer Hall Putsch, the trial provided Hitler with a national platform to speak out against the Weimar government and the Treaty of Versailles, which he saw as the cause of Germany's suffering. While in prison, Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, a book that outlined his political beliefs and future plans for Germany. In Mein Kampf, Hitler expressed his hatred of Jews, Marxists, and the Treaty of Versailles, while promoting the idea of a racially pure German state and the need for German expansion. During his time in prison, Hitler realized that gaining power through force was not a viable option. Instead, he would focus on using legal means to take control of Germany. After serving just 9 months of his 5-year sentence, Hitler was released, and he immediately began reorganizing the Nazi Party and focusing on a strategy to gain political power through elections. The Great Depression, which began in 1929, had a devastating impact on Germany. The country's fragile economy was shattered, with unemployment soaring and widespread poverty. The Weimar government struggled to address the crisis, leading many Germans to become disillusioned with democratic politics. Hitler and the Nazi Party saw the economic collapse as an opportunity to gain support. Hitler blamed Jews, communists, and the Weimar politicians for Germany's economic woes and promised to restore Germany to its former glory by rebuilding its economy. reviving its military and creating jobs for the unemployed. His message of hope and national unity resonated with millions of Germans who were struggling. The Nazi Party's message of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and promises of economic revival helped the party gain a significant following, particularly among the unemployed and disenfranchised. By 1932, the Nazi Party had become the largest party in the Reichstag, Germany's parliament. Although they did not have a majority, Hitler's growing influence and popularity made him a key figure in German politics. His message of strength, order, and national pride struck a chord with Germans, positioning him as the leader they believed could save the country from economic ruin and political chaos. In January 1933, after a series of political negotiations and backroom deals, President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Adolf Hitler as Chancellor of Germany, hoping that he could stabilize the country while keeping the Nazi Party in check. However, Hitler wasted no time in consolidating his power. Shortly after his appointment, the Reichstag Fire in February 1933 provided Hitler with an opportunity to push through the Reichstag Fire decree, which suspended civil liberties and allowed the arrest of political opponents. Hitler used the crisis to argue that the communist threat was imminent, and with Hindenburg's backing, he began to eliminate political rivals and secure his position. In March 1933, the Reichstag passed the Enabling Act, which granted Hitler the power to make laws without the Reichstag's approval, essentially giving him dictatorial powers. With the Enabling Act, Hitler was able to dismantle the Weimar Republic, suppress political opposition, and establish a totalitarian regime. Over the next few months, the Nazis eliminated all other political parties, silenced the press, and used violence and intimidation to maintain control. By the summer of 1933, Hitler had effectively transformed Germany into a one-party state under Nazi rule, and the stage was set for the establishment of his dictatorship. Once Hitler was appointed Chancellor, he moved quickly to establish his totalitarian rule over Germany. In 1934, following the death of President Hindenburg, Hitler merged the offices of Chancellor and President, declaring himself the Führer, or Supreme Leader of Germany. With absolute power, Hitler began to implement his radical policies. The Nazis repressed any form of political opposition, using the Gestapo, the secret police, to eliminate dissent. Political opponents, Jews, communists, and other perceived enemies of the state were targeted, arrested, and often sent to concentration camps. Hitler's vision for Germany included the creation of a racially pure Aryan state, and the Nazis began to implement policies to segregate Jews from the rest of society. The Nuremberg Laws, passed in 1935, stripped Jews of their citizenship and banned intermarriage between Jews and non-Jews. The Nazi regime also used mass propaganda to create a cult of personality around Hitler, portraying him as Germany's savior and the embodiment of the nation's will. Hitler's expansionist policies were also put into action, with the militarization of Germany and the eventual conquest of neighboring countries. His regime was marked by the systematic persecution of Jews, which would culminate in the horrors of the Holocaust. Through violence, intimidation, and propaganda, Hitler secured his control over Germany and set the stage for the outbreak of World War II. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more history content.